Hello, good day to you, and wherever you're watching us from. We are glad this is class 3, so we're going to be jumping right into it. So, today's class, we're going to be understanding layers and how they are being used, and the best way we can use layers for our designs, because layers are basically building blocks when it comes to working with Photoshop. So, Photoshop will work with layers, and they are like a major building blocks. So, understanding a layer itself is a very important part of understanding the use of Photoshop. But before we go into that, these are the objectives for today's class. At the end of today's class, we want to drive in that you're able to understand what layers are and why they are used. We want to you should be able to understand how to organize and manage multiple layers. You should understand and know the use of why we lock layers, how to group layers, how to merge layers together effectively, and differentiate between normal layers and adjustment layers, and lastly we'll also be touching layer maxing. So now we should have a quick recap from our last classes. So now in our first class we talked about the importance of design. That was introduction to designs, why we do design, the purpose of designs, who needs designs, and how to go about designs. And our last class we spoke about, our second class rather, we spoke about the interface of Photoshop, what we find there, how to save a file, how to create a basic file, shapes, and we introduce the interface, the toolbar, the menu bar, and most of the things that you can see on the interface of Photoshop. So we'll be diving into today's class. Today's class will be looking at layers and why they matter. Layer, first of all, they are transparent sheets stacked upon each other. So now let's go into our Photoshop so that it will be easier to look at this. If you open your Photoshop, let's just open a new file. I think we have, yeah, a file we worked with in our last class. Okay, now, so now we see that layers are transparent sheets stacked upon each other. Each layer can hold a text, or can hold a shape, or can hold an image independently without having to rely on other like layers. Each person can stand on its own. And a layer provides flexibility and makes edits non-destructible. What it means by non-destructible is that, okay, in an edit you can take one particular layer and work with it. It won't have effects on all other layers. So now let's quickly go and look at what layer. Okay, this is our layer panel. You can see this is the layer panel, and you can see these are individual elements. Let me move them. See, I can move this alone without moving all other persons. This is because of it is on its own. It has its own layer. It's a layer on its own. I can turn off the eyes. It will no longer be visible. I can bring back its visibility. I can, okay, this is another layer. It's on its own. Let me change the color of this shape so that it will make it easy to identify. Let me just give each shape a different color so that it will be easy to identify. We have multiple shapes here, so I just want to give each a different color so that it will be easier for identification. Yeah, so these are all layers. You can see it's individual. I can move them because it's a layer on its own. This is also another layer on its own. This one is together. See, it is one layer. This is one layer. If you come here, if you toggle these eyes, which is it, you see that everything about that goes off because it is on its own. That's a full layer on its own. Remember, we switched off one property. So let's go and activate it. So now see, this is also another layer of its own. I want to reduce the size of this so that we can be able to see them individually. Yes. If you notice one thing, this layer is on top, this particular layer I'm moving is on top of every other element. Reason being that it's above everybody. Remember, we said it is transparent sheet that is stacked on top of each other. So now we are seeing this one on top because is the one on the top floor. So now is the first one in the stacking system. Let me put it that way. So this is it. This is the first one, and that's why we're able to see that this follows next. If I switch this, let's see, this follows next. So now if you take this and you move this above every other person, you see that is above because it ranks next after that first layer. So now that's the arrangement of layer. Then when you say it gives flexibility, so now let's say imagine I want to this let's say this is a design, but now this text that is written here, now I don't like the way the text is written here. I want to change the position of the text. The flexibility is that I can move only this text to wherever I want it to be. See now, let's say I want to bring the text here and I want it to be above this. I'll look for its position in my layer, I will left click, hold it down, then drag it up to wherever I want it to be. So now if I put it on the topmost layer, now it will appear on top. So now that gives us the flexibility. That's the flexible part of it. And it's undestructible is because anything I do to one layer affects no other layers because everybody is individual. Are we together? So now let's go back to our class. So also layer order and visibility. I think I just quickly touched that. Layer order and visibility. It's arranged from the topmost layer. The topmost layer is the one that is more visible to the eyes. That's the one you see first to the eyes. Then it follows in that order down. I already quickly explained that. But let's say if we're going to let me add a layer with a color. Let me put a color to it. See now, this layer is white, covering everything you can see because why? It's on top of everybody. So now if I want to see other persons beneath, like what's under this, if I send a client this and I say I'm done with the design, the client is not seeing anything, just seeing a white canvas. So now, but imagine I come here and I reposition this white canvas. Let's say, okay, I want my text to be above the white. If I bring my text above it, now my text is visible. Anything I brings above the white becomes visible. So now the more the white goes down, because it's a full canvas, it's covering everything, the more it goes down, the more visible I see other things. So let me just drag the white layer to the last floor. Then if I bring it to the last floor, then you see every other thing has been made visible. Every other thing has been made visible. So let's look at locking, grouping, and merging layers. When you talk of locking is the ability for you to lock a layer that whatever you do to other layers, there's a way you can be working and by mistake you can move a layer. So now if you want to have a layer that by mistake you don't want to have anything to tamper with that layer, you can lock that layer. Let's say now I can move this up and down, right? I can move this too. But let's say in the course of this, because this one is on top this now, I want to lock this top layer, this fruit that has been tampered with. I want to lock this fruit in a way that I should be able to move what is behind it. So now if I click on that top layer that I want to lock, if you see this place, you see the option lock. So now I come to this place and I click on the padlock. Automatically I've locked this layer. And if you see now, if you click on this layer, it is not clickable. It is now clicking the white beneath it because that's the next layer under it. Are we together? That's the next layer under it. But if I go back to it now and unlock this layer, unlocking is just tap it, click on it, let's click on it, it will unlock. And if I click on it, you see now I've selected it. But if I lock it, you can no longer select it. That selects the select sign that is always showing around a layer. When you select it, is no longer visible. So now I can no longer move this shape. But now because of this one that is under now, under it is not locked, I can bypass not clicking this one, and anytime I click on that one, I should be able to pick it. Now this layer is locked. This layer of this fruit that is chopped is locked. To unlock it, I have to come back to it and unlock it. Once I unlock, I can now move. But once I have locked it, it is not movable. It is at that position, it will move. So now it helps us in, okay, maybe you have so many elements at the same time, maybe they are different lines and they have been positioned in a particular angle. You can lock them in order for you not to move them by mistake. That's one. We've talked about locking of layers. Then grouping of layers. Let's say these are two shapes, right? Shape 1 and shape 2. Let's say these two shapes, we want to group them together so that we can be able to, whatever I do in that group, any effect I apply in that group will affect both at the same time. So now what we will do is that we'll come to this layer, we'll select both of them and we together. Then we can use Ctrl G to group, or you right click, then you look for the option group. Group is supposed to be here somewhere. Yes. Then let's say shapes. Are we together now? So now you can see it has changed from showing two elements to just showing one and written shape like a folder. If I click on this folder, it will unveil the two shapes that are there. So now we can see the two things that are inside this folder. If I close this eye, you see now we're no longer seeing it. Now if I close the eyes of this shape, you see both of them have disappeared. If I on the eyes, both of them will appear because they are now inside that shape. So now we can still add things into a shape. Like now imagine I want to add this to this shape. Now I want to add this to this shape folder. I can hold it, left click and drag it into it. Automatically I've added that shape. So now the three of them are now inside that folder. Once I switch off, you can see now all three are no longer visible because they are inside the shape and the eyes of the shape is off. So now if I switch it on, we can have the eyes back. So are we together? So I just want to leave these two shapes grouped. So now the last, I think the other thing is merging layers. So now what does it mean to merge layers? You know, we've grouped these layers, but still we can still individually edit a particular element. I can still come here and say, okay, I want to change the color of this alone. I want to change the color of this alone to brown or to another shade of red. Abi? But now, when you merge a layer, you make it one, permanently one. When you merge a layer, you make it what, permanently one. It helps when you're doing complex designs. Maybe you have so many texts in different places, they are all arranged in one particular format. You can merge them together to be able to have them together and move them at the same time. You can also link layers to each other and move together. So now for merging, then I want to, okay, so now for merging, let's say I want to merge this text. I want to merge this text with this shape. You see that they are both individual layers. Abi? They are both individual layers and they are not grouped. But if I select both, you click on one, hold your shift and click on the other one. It will select both. You can see on my layer now, both of them are selected. To merge, you right click, then you look for convert to smart object. Once you convert to a smart object, it's going to merge both together to make them one. So now if I click on convert to smart object, you see now both of them are selected, but I'm only seeing one layer selected. Both of them are selected here, but I'm only seeing one layer selected here. If I switch off the eyes of this, both of them goes off. And see, the difference between this and a group now is that I can no longer, at this screen, I can no longer edit individually. So now anything I do to this file affects both at the same time. Anything I do to this layer rather affects both of them at the same time. I can't say I want to go inside it here to edit it, but there's a way we can edit it. Once you click on it, looking at your properties panel, you will see edit content. So now once you click on edit content, to take us to another page where both of them are now sitting individually. So now I can now come here to now edit them. Once I'm done editing, I Ctrl S to save. See, it's saving. Once it's saving, I close it. It takes me back here and it will effect the change I have done. I don't know if you are getting what I'm doing now. So now that's the way we use the merging layers, the grouping layers, and how to lock a layer. Are we together? So now let's move on in our class. So next we are going to be looking at normal layers, adjustable layers, and layer marks. So now what's the normal layer? Normal layers are the ones we are seeing that hold the text alone, hold the images alone, hold the shapes alone. Those ones are carrying something. Layer marks are a way of revealing or hiding a part of a layer without erasing anything in that layer. Let's go back to our Photoshop. Let's see how that works. See now, let's start with this fruit that has been chopped. See this fruit that has been chopped now. I can no longer get the remaining part of this fruit that has been chopped. Reason being that I I chopped the part that was erased from the fruit was erased in the fruit itself. But imagine this fruit. Let's bring back this fruit. I think we should still be able to get what. Remember how we got the fruit? We got we got this. We downloaded this from the net. Then remember this is showing because it is on top this. So now I want this to be the topmost layer so that I can see only that. So now this is the fruit. Now we want to get this out of the fruit. Remember we said how did we use it? We use quick selection tool, abi our quick selection tool. Then we come here. You can also, there's a two-way to it. Either you pick it manually, just right click and drag, right click and drag, right click and drag. Remember why this is selecting is because we're on a plus here. If you click on minus, it means remove. So now I want to remove this place. Yes, I want to remove this space, these spaces. Yes. So now I only have the fruit. Then I come to select and marks. Once I come to select and marks, I come down. After checking all other settings, most of the time, since Photoshop update has made it beautiful that their settings are now, once you crop it well, you can maybe leave it. Just make sure you just activate your smart radius. Then new layer, then we save. Then you see now I can see this fruit is full. I'll take this to the, yes, I can see this fruit now, it's full. It's not as chopped as this one. That part of it has been taken away. Abi, let me reduce the size of this so that we can see it in full. This is full, not like the other one that has been chopped. Abi, so now the question is, if I want to, maybe I want to chop this one now, I want to erase part of this one without touching the fruit itself, that in a way that I can be able to recover the fruit now. Like this one now, I can no longer recover these fruits because of the edit of the chopping of this one was done in the fruit itself. But if I want to chop these fruits now without affecting the fruit, I can create a layer mask and do the chopping on the layer mask, and each time I delete the layer mask, I will have my fruit back. This is how to go about it. Now the fruit is selected. I come here, you see, add layer marks. Once I click on add layer marks, it adds this is the layer marks here, that has been added. So now to chop the fruit, you come to erase. That was what we used to do, that we just erased part of it. So now we'll come to erase, then we'll come to this fruit. This erased, this is big, yes. Then let's erase part of the fruit. Sorry, let's erase part of the fruit. See, I've erased parts of this fruit. But now the difference between this one that I've erased part of it and this initial one that we can't adjust is because of the layer mask. Let me now show you the function of the layer mask. See that this one is erased, but if I want to get back the fruit itself, once I deactivate, let's say disable the layer mask, I'm having my fruit back. So now if I delete the layer mask, I still have my fruit. But if I want to see that part I chopped, if I enable the layer mask, it will just apply that chopping on the layer marks on the fruit, but the fruit itself is still whole. This is the fruit itself. So whatever I do on this layer marks will have an effect on the fruit, but will not touch the initial fruit itself. That means I can always revert back to the initial fruit I have. Are we together? So now that's where layer marks, this is the beauty of layer marks. So we'll be looking at adjustment layers too. Let's go back there. Adjustment layers is a way of applying brightness, hue, saturations, levels that you apply them individually and it falls down on every other thing beneath. Adjustment layers cannot work if there is no other layer. Yes. So now how to add an adjustment layer? So now let's say I want to add an adjustment layer here from this place. Now every other thing under this thing will be affected. I will come here. You see what I'm doing? Or you come to adjustments. You see, if you come to adjustments, you see you can add brightness, you can add level, you can add curve. So now these are the things that are available under the adjustment layer. Very soon we're going to be looking at all of this individually. So now, but first of all, let's add brightness. So now if you add brightness, you see this layer is created. If you switch it on and off, it has no effect because it's on its own is an adjustment layer. It doesn't carry anybody. So now you can switch it on and off. You won't see the effect except you've adjusted it. So now if I come here and I adjust the brightness to be darker, can you see? Can you see now? Adjusting the brightness is now affecting every other thing under it. But if you notice, it's not affecting these full fruits. Let me just make this disabled. If you see this full fruit on top, the adjustment layer is not affecting it. I believe you can tell why. It's not affecting it because it is not on top of it. But let's say this is it now. Let me bring this adjustment layer on top of the fruit. See, now is affected. Are we together? So now adjustment layer is a way to add and edit to everything at the same time. Imagine that this design is too bright. I can go individually to every individual element and be reducing the brightness individually. It is possible, but that will take me time. Imagine I just come and I work on just one layer or one adjustment element. I add an adjustment element for brightness and I reduce the brightness of that adjustment layer, and that adjustment layer applies the effect on every other thing on the design. That's the beauty of adjustment layers. Now you can still add an adjustment layer to just an individual object. So now see the adjustment layer is added to every other thing, but I just want to adjust the brightness of this full fruit, this first fruit that I'm seeing on top. I don't want it to affect every other thing. I will come to this adjustment layer. I will come between the adjustment layer and the fruit itself. I will hold my Alt key. Then you see this sign will appear. Once that sign appears and I click on it, that is I left click, automatically it means that apply this effect to only who is beneath me, directly beneath me. So now if I adjust this layer, it no longer affects any other person apart from this full fruit, because I have given it the command that apply this effect on only this first fruit. Are we together? So now that's it about the adjustment layer. So now, but if I want to disable that, I can come again, hold my hotkey, go above that. You will see this sign again. I will left click and it will take that away. So now every adjustment will be done on everybody at the same time. So yeah, that's it about the adjustment layers and the layer in full. So now I believe by now you should know the purpose of why we use layers, how layers can be used, the visibility of layers, how to use adjustment layers, and layers are the building block of a Photoshop design. Just know that the layers are the building block of a Photoshop design. So lastly, we're going home with an assignment. I beg you to practice, because it's practice by practice you get to know and to use this software better. So now I will advise you that you simply practice, create a very simple design having a background, a shape, a text layer, an adjustment layer, logo and icon, then save as a PDF and as a JPEG. See you in our next class. God bless you.